nobody's worried about going to take the test. The roll down say if anybody wants to take a test after this, we can do it out in the hall. But fair warning, it's only halfway done, so I bet you're gonna do the 50 right now. Okay? I appreciate you having me. While we get this presentation up, shouldn't take us terribly long. There's only a couple rule changes. I appreciate you all being here. This clinic was something that was a conversation 5 or 6 years ago with a couple of directors, myself, and some other folks in the organization. And it has slowly kind of moved a little momentum to have it, to look at it, to explore it. So I appreciate all those involved in putting this together. I appreciate you for coming. You understand that today, if you learn one new thing, you got better. If you learn one new thing, you got better. If you learn 10 new things, you got a lot better. But you got an opportunity to get better by learning one new thing. And if nothing else, it puts all 12, 13 districts from every tip and every corner of the state on the same page with certain topics. We can't possibly get you on the same page with every topic in one day. But it allows us the opportunity to say, hey, here are certain things. And hopefully everybody that came today leaves here today on the same page. And that's vital to what you do on Friday nights. Because you all know on Friday nights, you don't work with everybody from just your district. You have people from multiple districts. Some of you have the ability based on where you are to work with people from 4 different districts every Friday night. Some districts have the ability to work with 7 or 8. District 5, it's possible that all other 12 districts can work with a District 5 official. Geographic. And he said there's no way somebody from Horry County could. Florence makes it happen. Well, there's no way somebody from Beaufort could. Hampton County, Denmark, can make it happen. Depending on where they live. Now, obviously, if they live in Richland County, probably not going to happen. But if they live in the right spot in Weston County, they can happen. Well, you can't live in Henderson and be 75 miles from Columbia. You're not 75 miles from Columbia. You're 75 miles from somebody else who's driving 75 miles from Columbia. It's possible. It's possible. So this is a great start. I appreciate those involved, but more importantly than those involved putting it together, I appreciate you for coming and giving it a shot. Okay? Let's talk about the rule changes. For those who don't know, I'm Charlie Winsky, Deputy Commissioner of South Carolina High School League. Part of my job is to oversee the sport of football. With that, it comes with overseeing our officials. I don't want to learn about any transfer rule, do you? That might be more interesting. So, this is the presentation that I'm going to give to our coaches. You don't need to know about their first 3 days of practice stuff, but we talk about them. What color jersey they wear at home? What color jersey they're wearing on the road? We tell them there's no exceptions. There are exceptions, and I give them the right. But I don't want to give them when it's an extreme circumstance. I don't give it to them because they want to have a white out at home on a Friday night for a white jersey. We don't do that. It causes mass confusion. So I tell you this because you ever go to a game and the home team's wearing white and the visiting team's wearing red. I just need on the report when it comes in, hey, they were both wearing the opposite color jerseys what the rule requires. So I need varsity games now. Because then I'll know, okay, this has already been approved. What you're worried, I got it. Or I know this wasn't approved. It still wasn't worried, but I got it. Okay? So just make me aware so that we understand. State finals are December 5th and 6th. 3 games on Friday, 3 games on Saturday. You're fortunate enough to get picked or make it to a state final game. You either work on a Friday or work on a Saturday. Weather permitted. Good thing is, one ticket's good for all day now. So if you come with your SCFOA officials pass, you come to the first game and stay for 3 then. NFHS rule changes really quick. Tooth and mouth protector. We don't worry about this till 26, but what it's essentially saying is any adornment to the mouthpiece that doesn't provide a purpose to protecting the teeth and or mouth, it's not a valid mouthpiece. Not a valid mouthpiece. You see right here examples of what would be legal. Still, one painted like stars and stripes, one's got a tiger on it, one's got teeth, fangs, and then you have your traditional one that hooks to the mouth. To the face mask. Those are legal. What's not legal are the ones that have like a little chain. Think about it as a jewelry, a bracelet, a jewelry bracelet, or a medallion hanging off a necklace on your chain. Anything hanging off or is there for not a purpose, it's not going to be legal, but that won't start till next year. Arm sleeves. This will start in 2027. Okay, arm sleeves. And what this is saying is that if they've got an arm sleeve and there's material on that arm sleeve that enhances contact with the ball or an opponent, that arm sleeve is going to have to be the sports fitness industry accreditation. That's C, just like the gloves. It doesn't say all sleeves have to meet and have a SCFOA stamp on them. It's only sleeves that are meant to enhance contact with the ball or the defense or an opponent. So your traditional sleeves, they can pull up, and wearing their uniform, those are all still legal. They don't have to have that. We won't worry about that until 27. That'll be here before we know it. All right, electronic signs. This is a rule change for this year. These are fixed electronic signs. Can be used from the sideline. Nothing else has changed about electronic equipment being used on the field or between the nines. Right? Nothing's been changed. All we're saying now is look, you want to hold up a poster board with a picture of Bart Simpson and Cindy Crawford and a bottle of toothpaste. That's great. But you can also hold up an electronic sign that says 1, 2, 3, 4, or has all those pictures on it. So whether you want to make it by hand or you want to have it digital, that's fine. What it can't do is it can't be a roll and scroll. It can't be one that changes images. It's got to be a fixed electronic sign. Does that make sense? Again, it doesn't change. Scrolling graphics, video footage, connected audio communication are all examples of the use of illegal equipment if this were between the 9-yard circumference. Okay, nothing changes there. All right. Illegal. This is not new, but this is what I'm putting in for the coaches so they clearly understand all these electronic changes. These are illegal coach-to-player technology communication. What these are, you got no route on no tech. What these are essentially a wristband they put on. If you watch college or Major League Baseball and you see them look here, it's the same concept. Coach has an iPad, he writes right, Y, X, Z, go 45. Everybody falls down. That's illegal communication. They can't electronically communicate with the sidelines in the field. So this is one example right here. Wristbands are possible. Don't think it's just always in their ear. Sometimes it might have on their wrist. If you see the quarterback constantly going here and never looking over the sideline, you may want to ask him to look at his wristband. Just out of curiosity. I bet you there's going to be somebody in the state that has one of these systems. It's just a matter of whether we catch it. We catch it on the correct. Yeah. If we don't have a long conversation, look, we're cheating enough. Don't give her that, by the way. If they catch it, we're going to ask them to take it off. That's the answer. Yes. Yeah. Now we got a sportsmanlike issue on the head coach. And I would call that flagrant. Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
If you catch them with illegal communication from the sideline to the field, first time you catch them, you got to take that off. Take it off. If you catch it again in the same game, it's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct. And I'm telling you, I would call that flagrant. So if you send it in as a flagrant unsportsmanlike on the head coach, and you reject it. When it gets to me and I say, wait a minute, coach, number one, you knew you couldn't do this. They gave you a free warning, and then you still did it. That's bad choices for you. 3 bad choices. First time, after the warning, and whatever you're going to do next. Right? Here's some other examples. These are the ones where it's going to be in the helmet, less likely to hear. But I can promise you, if that quarterback's doing this, it's coming in. It's coming in. It's coming in. Other illegal equipment, this is new, and this is not really something we thought about, but any electronic equipment that's on the player is now illegal. Any electronic equipment. So they can't be mic'd up under their pads. Now, how are we going to know? Probably not. You're probably not going to know in the game unless they've got a GoPro stuck to your helmet, which I would hope most of y'all would say, hey, that's probably doesn't need to be there because it's going to be illegal equipment anyway from a safety standpoint, right? But any fixed video or audio on them that allows them to capture what's going on in the game is illegal. It's illegal, okay? Has nothing to do with any other non-player personnel on the sideline or officials. This is all about players. Okay? All about players. You probably won't catch it. We'll know it on YouTube next week when they slice it and it all up. Okay? All right, forward fumble rule. Trying to make this as quick as painless as possible. Okay? Forward fumble, rule change. Remember, the forward fumble, as we talk about this, is going to be determined by the relationship of where the ball is fumbled versus where the ball goes out of bounds. That's it. The relationship of where I lose it. So if I'm running this way and the ball pops out backwards, but it ends up out of bounds there, it's forward from where I lost it. Everybody understand? Does it matter how it gets there? Let's say I pull it backwards and in a scramble or all this nonsense going on after it, it's a really windy night and the ball gets blown. Doesn't matter. Unless you got legal kicks, legal backs, etc., right? But we muff, forward. It's forward. That makes sense. It goes out forward, it bounces, hits the kid in the leg, unintentional kick, and it ends up backwards. What do we got? Backwards on. Go out of bounds. Okay? So it's all a relationship of where I lose it to where it goes out of bounds. Okay? Everybody clear? Because we're going to mess that up. We're going to mess that up. Yes, sir. Correct. That's correct. That's all I was getting to. The question was, legal kicks, legal bats. It's still going to retain the status of fumble. Yes, but we got a penalty we may need to adjudicate as well. So we could have a whole different scenario where it's the ball went and all that stuff. Okay. All right. So, forward fumble to field of play. Field of play is defined as between the goal lines. It goes out of bounds between the goal lines. Okay. We're going to return that ball to the spot. The ball is lost. Spot is fumbled. That's why your B badge now on every fumble is crucial. That's why it's crucial. Okay. So we're going to return that ball back to the spot it was lost. The 40-second play clock is going to start, just like it would. We go out of bounds, 40 seconds going to keep going, and then once the ball's spotted and we're ready to go, the referee's going to sit back there and do the silent line. And the game clock's going to start. And other than that, 10 to 15 seconds to get the ball back in bounds and figure out, okay, it wasn't worth on one advance. Other than that, it'll be just like he was tackled where he lost. Penalty enforcement, right there. Okay. Now you gotta forget dead ball spot is where ball goes out of bounds, because this rule changes that. Ball goes out of bounds, it's not a dead ball spot. We're going back when the run ended, where it's balls. Right. And the rule book doesn't say that. I understand. But the rule book's in contradiction of itself with this rule and what the dead ball spot is for the ball going out of bounds. Okay, yes.
Communicate different information to get out right here.
What is that right there?
Not that table for everyone to read.
Wait, yeah, that's wrong. I communicated that as a correction after I sent that out. The 40-second play clock.
Shouldn't be though.
What?
Shouldn't be.
It is. Yeah, you got a piece of paper right there. The game clock starts with our play clock's going to start with 25. That is incorrect. I sent that out on a Thursday or a Friday, and then on Monday, I corrected that back to the directors and said it's a 40-second play clock. It will be 40. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to be out of bounds. We're going to have a conversation about whether it was a forward fumble, where the spot is in its loss, right? Everybody's got to get together. Probably going to be looking at where the down box goes, where the chains are. We're going to get it set. Everybody's going to read. Somebody's got to tell the head coach forward fumble, break it back. We're going to look up. It's going to be a 23. And the White Hat's going to do what? He's going to go just like this, and we're going to end up 25 seconds. But for those ones that are really easy, they have it right on the sideline. They go right out of bounds in front. And the covering official can easily pick that ball back up and wheel it right back in and say, forward fumble, we're going back here. And the umpire knows it right away. They put the ball down. Everybody gets set back up. Nobody questions anything. Referee looks up, and we're at 34 seconds. He's just going to let the game keep playing. And he's going to start the game clock, and we're going to win. Yes.
Can we keep the game clock running if it's real easy?
No. You gotta have the silent line dictate to the head coach and to the time clock is what we're doing. Because if you don't, you get inside of the minute of the contest, you're gonna really put yourself in a bad spot when you don't do it well. Okay?
It's on the ring.
Yeah, on the silent line.
So when the ball goes out of bounds, you're not gonna start the game clock.
We're gonna start on the silent line on the red.
Play clock.
Play clock's gonna go to 40 seconds. Just like it would be on a normal play in bounds. Okay? And then when we get all started, the referee's gonna give you that 25-second play clock. Or whoever's keeping it on their wrist brace, because we gotta go here because we're 25, right? Or we're going to do silent line because we're above 25 and we got time. Okay? Backwards fumble goes out of bounds. We're going to leave it at the spot. Treat it just like it went out of bounds. Confused? Wasn't necessary when we made a rule change. Okay? Now here's the difference. We got to know the difference between a muff and a fumble. We got to understand the difference. Because we could essentially get the same result, then we have to officiate it differently based on whether it was a muff or a fumble. Let me give you for example. For example, we run the option. I pitch it, I catch it, I take 3 steps, I get hit, fumble it forward out of bounds. Where's the ball coming back to? We run the option, I pitch it, I don't ever possess it, it hits me and bounces. What are you going to do? It goes out of bounds. Out of bounds spot, why? You got a ball, never possessed it. Right? Yeah, necessary, we talk about it all we want. All right. There are 3 plays. 3 plays that we talk about the forward fumbles happening in the end zone that we're going to deal with all 3 differently at the end of the play. Okay? It's all going to be determined by who put the ball in the end zone. Who put it there? Okay, so ball's at 2 going out. A snaps at the shotgun. Quarterback from A is running to his right and fumbles the ball forward out of the end zone and out of bounds. What do we have to do with the ball? Bring it back to the spot it was lost, right? Because it was fumbled out of bounds between the goal lines. Okay? So, bring it back to the end zone. A put it in the end zone. A fumbled it from the end zone. What do you got? Safety. Okay? Now, A throws the pass. B catches it at 2. his momentum carries him across the goal line. He runs around like a hero because he's about to go 100+ yards for a 6. Okay? He realizes that he's going to do this until the ball comes out. Ball comes out, it goes forward, out of bounds. Rule book 30 says, momentum exception took him in. We were going to take it back on this forward fumble back to where that momentum spot was and starting for first down from being from that 2-yard line where he intercepted the momentum carried across. Okay? Then you're going to have the one where B intercepts it in the end zone or picks up the ball that's in the end zone. And they're going to be the hero running around, and all of a sudden, bam, fumble, right? Forward, out of bounds. Touchdown. Okay. 3 ways to stop from the end zone, all 3 will be officiated differently. Okay? Now, here's one crazy play that's probably most likely to happen. Okay? Especially at your smaller levels of football, where they're not very strong in special teams. It's 4th and 10. 4th and 10, ball snap to the punter, who's in punt formation, right? He catches it, and as he's about to kick it, he drops it. What do you got now? We got a fumble, right? Well, it ain't panic. He's about, here comes the R. He panics. He kicks it. You got a legal kick? Okay? You got a legal kick from the what? From the fumble, right? That legal kick goes forward and out of bounds. What are we doing with that fumble? They get it back to the spot of the kick, right? Or fumble, right? Which is probably going to be a very similar spot for the most part. Okay? For the most part, maybe within a half yard. I can promise you, R will not care when they get the result. They will not care if they're a yard off, you're a yard off. They won't care. Okay? So we got the punter catches the ball, he possessed it. As he's about to kick it, he drops it. And then he legally kicks it forward out of bounds. It's 4th down. So R's going to have 2 options here. Take the spot of the illegal kicking and enforce the foul and replay the down, correct? So it'll be 4th and probably 25. Or you put the forward fumble that went out of bounds back to the spot it was lost. The play's over, and R will take a new series of downs going 1st and 10 this one. That may happen, especially at the smaller level, where special teams are not as strong. Okay? Questions? Yep. Back to where we lost it. Back to where we lost it from. Question. Yes, the question is wrong. The answers they gave you were wrong. But some do it. All test writers with that. That is a 100% propaganda for me for a few weeks. All test writers don't make a mistake. And unfortunately is you're gonna have to eat that mistake, not me. I'm just messing. All right. Illegal participation enforcement. This file, I don't care what publication you read, it's not in the FHS rule book. I don't care what study guides there are. You're going to treat this the same way you treat a blocking back or a hold. It's all in relationship to where the foul occurs to run in. Got it? Okay. Look it off against a spot foul. Because there was a lot of scenarios where you can legally participate in the advanced spot would really benefit 1 or 2 teams. Or B can actually walk in off the field, legally participate well behind. There's no foul. Well, we've since created a new problem that to get the legal kicking when we're batting in total check. We won't get into that. Any questions? Those are the rule changes. Since your forward fumble Then your legal participation files and how we're doing. Any questions? Very good. There are a couple editorial changes just to bring to your attention. The definitions here, the penalty enforcement of the loose ball play and types of play, essentially what happened is it was just moved into the definition section. Okay, just moved it into definition section. Okay, and then the defenseless receiver, the opposite occurred. It got moved out of the definition section into rule 9. Same concept, same ideas, just got put from 2 to 9, and the other ones got put from where they were to. That makes sense? Okay. And then illegal batting and illegal kicking, all the other stuff is pretty minor, but illegal batting and illegal kicking, 1044A, remember, those are now at the spot there. Okay. Any questions of me so far? Yes, sir.
Let's go back, on the slide that had the early participation.
Remember this foul last year was the what? Oh, spot foul. Yeah. No, that was actually a spot overall. As it was written. Which is why the change here. Treat it like every other basic foul. Okay, illegal and improperly worn equipment. We've exhausted this the last few years, but we're gonna exhaust it again. If their pants have to cover the knee, yes. Jerseys have to get to the waist, yes. They can't have t-shirts that hang down to here, yes. They can't have jewelry, yes. Can't have tinted shields, correct. But we gotta use common sense as an official. We gotta use common sense on this. If I just caught a pass and I ran 6 yards and I get tackled and I get up and my pants are right here, you don't run to that kid and go, get off the field, your pants aren't covered in. We don't do that. Because there's probably a reason why their pants are up here. Now, if they come out in the very first play of the game and their pants are sitting right here, what are we gonna do? Put them on. Because that's the intention. If they break the huddle and they're all the way up here, if you're standing right there, hey, cover your knee. If the kid can't do it by just doing that real quick, sit them on. If they got a illegal towel, you know, they got one of those towels that hangs down to here and it's about this wide and they got something written on it, Jesus loves me, right? Hey, get rid of the towel. If they take it and throw it off, just let them keep playing. Fix it, move on. We had a situation in the state finals where we had a kid who's running back, and I won't do it because I'm not in physical condition to do it right now. He had his shirt tucked up under here. A referee went to him and said, hey, fix your jersey. You know what he did? He poured it right out and he kept playing. Real simple. If you can do that, do that. Hey, pull your jersey out, keep playing. Tuck your shirt in, big man. Oh, I can't get it tucked in. Well, then get off the field. They'll get it tucked in. They'll get it tucked in. Okay? These are non-negotiables. These are non-negotiables. Very simple. Is the pant covering the knee and the knee pad going to keep the kid from tearing his ACL or MCL? Absolutely not. But it may prevent his knee from getting scratched or cut or a cut being open. Okay? We're not college. As somebody in our committee eloquently put it, we're going to turn around in a few years and college and football is going to be wearing volleyball shorts to play. Yeah. That's what they're going to be wearing. And for those of you that have never seen what volleyball shorts are, just Google it. Volleyball spandex and you'll go, oh yeah, some of them aren't far. But we are a whole different level. The expectation is they will wear their equipment correctly. Okay, we send them off, right? Listen, if this thing escalates to where we're constantly sending players off, and we're constantly, and the coach is making no effort to help us, you've got a tool in your bag. You know what that is? Unsportsmanlike on the head coach. They'll fix it real quick. All I say is we better make sure that the head coach is definitely not doing anything trying to help us. Because sometimes kids make decisions for kids no matter what the coach tells them to do. Okay? But if it gets ridiculous, I don't want to get a call, man. We sent 35 off from that school last Friday night. That's probably 22 minutes. That's actually probably 32 minutes, to be honest with you. Somebody should have got hit with an unsportsmanlike. We'd have moved on. You wouldn't have had any more problems. Okay? But use some common sense. Use some common sense. Guardian caps and these safe protect shells on helmets, those are by rule legal. They can wear those. And that's not your concern. All I've told our schools is, yes, they meet rule, they are legal. However, the school needs to check with the manufacturer to make sure it's not going to avoid their NOC standard at the time of manufacture. It doesn't avoid any warranties or warnings the helmet has on. Because when they put those things together and they are tested and the manufacturer says this is legit, it doesn't have any stuff on it. When you add stuff to it, it's a whole nother ballgame. That's not your concern. Your concern is that these two pieces of equipment are legal. Add to it on.
Oh,
Yes.
is there any penalty if that comes off during the play?
No, we would treat it like the town of, I don't see how we could do it any other way. Be fair. All right, last thing here for me on this stuff, sportsmanship. We gotta be very good. Gotta be very good at keeping these games in control from a sportsmanship standpoint. Okay, we've got to be very good at keeping these games in control. Yes, I understand the coach has to control their players. Yes, I understand the kids have to behave the right way. Well, we have got to be very good at keeping these games in control, which means we have got to be aware. We've got to be aware. We can't have our head in the sand. Well, I didn't know 44 was talking trash to us in the whole game. What do you mean? He's playing inside linebacker, you're the umpire. You didn't hear him say one thing negative to the other team. You didn't hear him say one cuss word the entire game. And all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, he just cussed for the first time and number 75 hauled back and punted. Well, he may have been a little bit earlier in the game. Well, then address it. Tell him to knock it off. Tell him to quit. Hey, 44, you don't cost your team 15 yards in a second. And your head coach ain't gonna be happy if you keep up. Most of the kids will get that message. Notice on here it says, game officials should allow for brief, spontaneous, emotional reactions at the end of the play. Game officials should penalize acts that are prolonged, choreographed, or directed at home. A kid is going to get up from a big play and have a brief moment of personal celebration. It's spontaneous, it's emotional, it is a reaction, it's quick, and bam, it's done. Now, if I high step for 15 yards, that's not brief, right? If I strike the football and dance, that probably is choreographed. I've thought about this. But if I score and I run and high five my teammate, brief, spontaneous, emotional, we let it roll. We let it roll. But if we do something directed at somebody else, I get up and I stand over the top of you after making a big catch. What is that? That's taunting. That's directed at my point. Okay? So this is where judgment of you is critical. Brief, spontaneous, emotional reactions, we understand it. However, I briefly get up and have a spontaneous emotional reaction and shoot my machine gun at everybody across the field. Yellow flag. And I say that's blatant. I say that's blatant. We're gonna deal with that, do an injection. I get up and I shoot pistols at my opponent. What am I insinuating? To 95% of the world, what am I insinuating? I'm shooting you. That kid's like, nah, I've known that kid since second grade, but guess what? 90% of those people that see that don't know that. So we treat it that way. We treat it exactly how we see it. Not what we think it was. This is what it was. That's blatant. I'm sure other things are going to rise as the year comes, and we're going to say, hey, that's an issue we're going to address. Any questions of me? Drones, great question. We don't have a written policy on drones. What we've always said, I've always communicated on drones, is that I don't care where they are as long as they're not over the field of play during play. Or during the game. Once we have that first kickoff, at that point, halftime excluded, over the field of play or anywhere near the edges of the field of play. I don't want to get into this 2-yard belt. That's where the drone is. No, that drone could fall and fall on a kid. That's what we're worried about. We're worried about that thing coming down. I'm not worried about, well, I'll keep it away from the punter. We ain't got many kids in the state. We got one right now that's kicking up high enough to hit a drone. I'm more worried about that drone falling and hit something. Right? So over the field of play, no. In the end zones, you go, that's just like a camera down there. You don't worry how many cameras are down. That. This is the problem. Are you good? We might read that. I think the first few weeks. Yeah. Mr. Sawyer's asking how we're looking. Last year, first 4 weeks, if you remember, everybody was open to every game. Okay, this year everybody's open to every game. Game fee is $115 in every level. First 1A through 5A is $115. That's what it is. Whole season, yeah. The decision, the membership wanted and the executive committee made to approve. We did it prior to last year to trial, make sure we could sign and keep some integrity. But we obviously what we don't want is we don't want 5 third-year officials on a major rival game with 2 4A schools, because it's not going to be fair for everybody. The 5 third-year officials are going to be overwhelmed together. Which it wouldn't happen, because we wouldn't have 30 officials directly. But you get one. You get one. So there are some things you got to protect against, but that's what we do internally. With that, I'm going to tell coaches they probably got to open up all their blocks, because you don't know who you'll get them, and you may not see some of the same folks. So yes.
With regard to a spontaneous celebration, is every spike illegal?
Not every spike. I mean, you may have a kid that gets up and just does it like that and walk away from it. But if I mean, I haul back on that thing, I can wham I can't go school Dallas Cowboys used to do those guys. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be bad. There's gonna be times when the kids just gonna toss the ball down on the ground. That's not unsportsful. That's not unsportsful. Right? But again, this is one of those things that comes down to that one word. That one word that you've got on. What is that? Judgment. Judgment. I can't sit here and give you every example of what is and what wouldn't be. You've got to judge it for yourself. I would just tell you it's pretty spontaneous and emotional. It's not a big act like you didn't see it. Listen. Raise your hand if you have called every profanity word you've heard on the football field every time you've heard it. Raise it right now. And I'm gonna tell you your life. Because we know, I didn't hear that. Right? We know that. So there's times you don't hear it, there's times you didn't see it the same way. Now, what I wouldn't tell coach is, Coach, I didn't see that. I would just say, Coach, I didn't see it that way. But that puts it right back into your judgment. When you say I don't see it, they're gonna find that film clip that shows you staring it down the whole way through. They're gonna say, God, this guy either is blind or lies or both. Just tell them, I didn't see it that way, Coach. I didn't see it that way. Okay? It's always your right. Coach, not my call, coach, I didn't see it. Best answer you can give, coach, I don't see it that way. Keep moving. I can't argue that. Can't argue. Okay? Good question. Good. Good on that. Questions? Yes.
How do you want to handle the plastic LED light?
Why you gotta pick a model like that? How are we gonna handle the LED flashing lights? Then why you gotta pick a model like that? They're willing to do. No, great question. We don't have anything in our rule book that says it can't be done. We don't have anything that says it can't be done. In fact, I know a couple schools that we gotta reach out to encourage them to shorten that time. And hopefully it won't be as prolonged. I can tell you as a parent, fan, I got to experience the other side of the LEDs last year way too many times. And it wasn't fun, but I get it, because they're trying to create an environment that's different, that's special, that is a home field advantage, but it does need to be curtailed back in a few places. So, I don't mind it after stores, I don't mind it at certain times, they just don't need to be 3 minutes long. But as far as how you handle it, if you don't really like it at all, and it bothers you, I'd say you probably need to walk to school for working at their games. I put in the notes that it was excessive and long. But if they've had 2 home games by week 4 and week 6, all of a sudden I get that, I gotta wonder what the first 2 crews were thinking.
Some scores.
Yeah, maybe not, if they don't even play. Yeah, that's it, they're still flash. Any other questions?
Charlie. Third down, they're playing Hell's Bells beforehand, they cut it out before the staff, is that fine?
Is it on offense or on defense?
It's on defense.
I would say we gotta talk to that head coach and say, hey, we need to cut this down a little bit. Now, you gotta get, this is where common sense comes into play, right? If every play call, we're sitting in the sideline and they're in the huddle and they're all telling everybody, hey, we're running the bank X, Y counter sweep. They break the huddle and go to the line and there's no more communication between the quarterback and anybody else. They're playing Hell's Bells over the PA system is impacting nobody, especially if it turns off and they all get to the line of scrimmage. Right? But if I'm out there at team and we're constantly looking at the sideline and they're yelling at us, and he's out there and the quarterback's trying to move and make changes, and we got motions and we got claps and we got voices in the back, and they're pumping that Hell's Bells till it snap, we got an issue. Now, if they're doing it to their own team too, I'd say let it be. But if they're just doing it to the visiting team, then I'd say you need to make a comment to the head coach, hey, we don't need to cut that back, especially if he says something. If this guy never says anything to me all night long, again, didn't see it, didn't hear it, we're moving on. I'm aware of it. So that when he does say it, I can say, coach, I already told you this one time, we need to cut that out. Right? But if while we're huddling or right when the play's over, we want to play, it's third down, and ding, ding. We're trying to have a little emotion. We're not trying to drive them 300 fans that want to come play. Right? We want a little bit of excitement. And I will tell you this, as a parent, taking my high school lead hat off of being a parent of a school that did something similar to that. But a lot of it was just emotional third down noise, same sound with every third down or second down. It got taken away in the middle of the game. And the atmosphere for the rest of that game, gone. In terms of PA system, gone. It was just a quiet night. So we get to the third quarter and both bands are on their game breaks for the entire third quarter. It's just, there's no atmosphere. But there's a difference between an atmosphere and a cross the line game. So that's the great question. Both of those questions. Remember, there's no foul. There's no foul for the bands playing. They wanna play the whole game, they can put sit there, and they can just beckon it out the whole game long, and we are no worry about them at all. We got band directors and football coaches that are at odds about that all the time. Band directors tell their coaches, we can't play when the other team's got the ball. Coach said, that's exactly what I want you to play. Now, when we got the ball. Right? I get those emails from band directors, correct if I'm wrong, but we can't play if we got the ball. You're wrong. Thank you. Hey, we want to play. We want to play. It's high school football, folks. We want a great experience for all involved. Remember that every Friday night, this is high school football. There is some kid out there that this may be this Friday night. When you go to it that night, just tell yourself, this may be some kid's last game ever. It may be some kid's last game ever. Could be week 0. It may be his last game ever. They may never get to do this again. Happy to know. But just remind yourself every time you go there. Any questions? Other questions? Great questions. Great questions. All right. Hearing none. Thank you all. Have a good rest of the week.